So our minds tend to go towards the negative. We know this. Science tells us this, that 80% of our thoughts are negative. So this is a really great book. It's by Joyce Meyer. I read this years and years ago. I've actually read it a few times. It's called The Battlefield of the Mind. Now, she is a Christian speaker, writer, I guess, writer. I'm not sure what her title would be. But she talks about how our battle every day really is in our mind. And I want you I'm going to share some things from this book, because I think that so many of us, myself included, we can get stuck in this spiral that goes negative. And here's the thing, right? I love this thing. You cannot squeeze orange juice out of an apple. You cannot squeeze orange juice out of an apple. An apple is an apple. You cannot change the inside of the apple. You can paint the apple orange. The apple can look like an orange. You could put a fake orange like suit, little mold clay on the apple and deceive people and have them think it's an orange. But when you squeeze it and you juice it, the only thing you're getting out of an apple is an apple juice. It's never going to squeeze out orange juice. Who you are on the inside is what will always come out. So it's, how do you respond to things? Are you reacting? Are you triggered? Are you, out of control and giving your power away? Or are you in charge of you? Like, who you are on the inside, that's what's going to come out in good circumstances, bad circumstances, all circumstances. It's kind of like, I remember when I was dating, and I was dating this guy. He was a neurophysicist out of Columbia, like super smart, right? Super successful. We went on a date, and we were standing at this restaurant. It was really crowded. We were waiting for a table. Now, he was always very nice to me, obviously, right? He treated me really, really well, obviously, because we were dating, right? So this is the persona, right? I'm seeing the outside. It was like the what it was covering on the inside. Well, we're standing there, and this waitress walks past, and she's got this huge tray. It's filled up with stuff. The place is crowded. It's a busy Friday night, and she drops a fork, literally right in front of us. Like, we're standing here, fork drops on the ground. I kid you not, guys. He goes like this. And he just looks down at the fork. And here's this poor waitress. She's got this tray full of stuff, right? But he just looks down at the fork. He did not lean down to pick up the friggin' fork. I leaned down because it was in front of him. It wasn't in front of me. So I reached down, I pick up the fork, I put it on her tray. She's like, oh my gosh, thank you. But I thought, wow, I just saw what really came out. That was some juice that I was not looking for, right? Like, this is who this person really was on the inside, not what they just wanted me to see. Who we are on the inside will always come out. So who do we are on the inside? It's really controlled by our brain. It's by what we think and the thoughts that we dwell on and that we allow into our brain. I used to think that my thoughts were real. I used to think that my feelings were real. I used to think that I couldn't control my thoughts. They were just thoughts that came into my brain. Well, I thought my ex-husband was a good human being. I thought that my ex-husband loved me. I felt my feelings were like, I love this person. I'm going to get married and have a baby with this person. Fast forward 7 years, I find out that he was a complete fraud, had made up lies about jobs, careers, schools, things that did not exist. It was very much like Lifetime movie, finding out that my entire life and him was a made up facade. Clearly, he did not love me. He ended up stalking me, threatening to kill me. I have a lifetime restraining order. Like, my feelings could not be trusted. My thoughts were not always accurate. So that is why God tells us we need to renew the mind. We need to guard the mind. So that's what this book talks about, the battlefield of the mind. That really our battle is not out here, it's in here. And she says, Satan knows well that if he can control our thoughts, he can control our actions. Think about that. And I did a post on this recently in light of recent events that, there's a saying that one of the devil's greatest accomplishments was that he convinced people he wasn't real. As a Christian, I know that the devil is real. He roams the earth. He's looking to kill, devour, and destroy, right? And so I don't believe that people are inherently evil. I think that people are made in the image of God. However, I do believe that evil exists and it works through people. And that is why we see such evil in this world, because Satan takes a hold of people and works through, and evil exists through working through people. And so it says if he can control our thoughts, he can control our actions. It says the devil will try his hardest to stop you from renewing your mind. This is why I think it is hard sometimes to change our thoughts from that positive to the negative. And let me share you a few other things from here. It says in Mark 4:24, it says, be careful what you are hearing. Guys, we need to be careful what we're listening to, what we're consuming, the media that we're taking in, who we're listening to. It says, Satan wants you to think that you are unhappy due to what is going on around you, our circumstances. But the misery is actually what's going inside of our thoughts. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So I would say that I really found to be true. When I was in the middle of the cancer ward with my daughter, when you guys know, this is when I started my gratitude practice. What was my circumstances were my daughter had stage 4 high risk cancer. They told me she was going to die. Satan wanted me to be living in my circumstances. I chose gratitude. I chose to choose my thoughts. Now, did that keep her alive? No, let's be real, right? I believe my daughter's alive because of a lot of prayer and some incredible friggin' doctors that saved her life. Women that I will be grateful for, nurses that I will be grateful for forever, right? I think those two things are, and it was just the luck of the draw because I have friends who were amazing, faith-filled women who I admire and respect, and their children did not survive. So I do not believe that my daughter's alive because of me, right? I believe it was the luck of the draw, and those two things are just the circumstances that happened. But I do think the devil wanted to keep me down and keep me rooted in my circumstances. And I chose gratitude instead. And it changed me and it changed my life, right? And that this is also another one that Satan wants you to think that you are mentally deficient, that there is something wrong with you. I'm hearing this a lot. I'm hearing people talk about this imposter syndrome. Like, I'm an imposter. I suffer this syndrome. There's nothing wrong with you. There's no imposter syndrome. You just sometimes don't believe that you're capable, or you believe that maybe you're not as good as people think you are. That's just because we all struggle with like self-doubt and self-belief and confidence. And that's just a human experience. It's not because you have a syndrome or something needs to be fixed with you. There's nothing wrong with you. We're constantly being told what's wrong with us. I had this growing up. I have a very strong personality. I had my dad's personality. I'm very much like my dad. My dad had a lot of issues, right? Like he had some rage issues. He had issues. And so I was told all growing up, oh, Tara, that's just your personality. Oh, that's just your personality, as if there was something wrong with my personality. Because I was different than some of the other members of my family who had a different personality. And I really had this belief that there was something wrong with my personality. I was too aggressive. I was too outspoken. I was too what? Well, let me tell you, going through domestic violence and having to advocate in court multiple times for my daughter through 2 different cases, having to speak, having to work with the victim advocate, I'm glad I have the personality that I have. I doubt I would have been able to get out of that horrific situation if I was not aggressive, bold, advocating for myself, outspoken, like, ready to go in like a bull, like a china shop, right? If I had been a little bit meeker, a little bit softer, a little bit wishy-washy, I might not have even left that situation. So God gave me the personality that I needed to endure what was going to happen in my life. And if I can impress nothing on you, is that you are perfect just the way you are. Your personality is perfect just the way you are. The things that you don't like about yourself, God created those things specifically to serve you so that he could work through you. We do not need to be fixed. We need to change our mindset. We need to change our mind, right? So I love this book. If you are struggling with self-doubt or you are struggling with a lot of negativity, I cannot encourage you enough to get this. It's Joyce Meyer's Battlefield of the Mind. I just want to see if there's anything else that I think is like that's like super important. I have so many highlights in here. I've highlighted half this book, so I don't want to read the whole thing for you. But it's such a good book, and it really will make you realize that your thoughts and this idea that we have to guard our mind is not just you. We all struggle with this. This is where Satan wants to get a foothold. He wants to tell you that you can't. He wants to tell you that it's not good enough. I mean, this is our whole thing. If you are part of my membership, it's Hey Girl, You Can. Because the whole concept of this is that like, hey, you can. If you have dreams, if you have goals, if you have beliefs, things that like you secretly keep buried that you're like, I don't think I could do this. I want to write a book. I want to do a TED Talk. I want to start a business. I want to travel the world. I want to whatever it is, right? Whatever that dream is that is in your heart. I want to start a nonprofit. I want to, do this at my church. I want to do this in my community. I want to be able to create something. Like, You are able. You are able. You might not know how yet. You might not have all the pieces together, but you are able because, hey, girl, you can. You can. And I believe the enemy wants to tell you that you can't. And he wants to steal that joy from you. I know we've gone in 10 different directions today. But I would invite you to be part of this battlefield of our mind. And I invite you to practice gratitude with me, because that is where it changes. That is where it starts. When you start a daily gratitude practice, when you have gratitude every single day, you will win the battle in your mind, because you will be focusing on the things that are so good that your mind will seek more of those things out. You will change your life because you will change. I promise you, I dare you to do a gratitude practice for a month and see how it changes you. And I've been thinking about bringing back the Grateful Connection. It was a month-long program that I did a few years ago. I am thinking about bringing that back again in November. So if you're interested, comment. I can tell you if we decide to do that, because I so strongly believe that change starts with us. And I believe that we can change the world when we change us. And I believe that when people are coming from a place of gratitude, literally, if the whole world had to do a gratitude practice, I truly believe our world would be unrecognizable in a month. Unrecognizable. That it really does change starts with us, right? We can't expect it from other people. And it scares me to see the level of hate, anger, angst, rage, and just even within our children, right? Like what I see with like young people today, and the amount of crisis that so many of them are in. And I really, truly believe that gratitude would change most of those things. Because when we're just focusing on what we don't have, and social media is constantly telling us what we don't have, and advertising is constantly telling us what we don't have, that can leave us really depleted and empty. And that's what the enemy wants you to think, that you're not good enough, that you don't have enough, that you're not capable enough, that look at what everybody else has. It makes us feeling like crap. That is a lie. That is a lie. You are capable. You are able. You are amazing. You are made in the image of a creator who loved you and made you perfectly in his image, and you do not need to be fixed. So focus on your gratitude. I would love to know in the comments, what are you grateful for today? What is something so insignificant, so small that you might otherwise overlook? But if you really thought about it, you're like, yeah, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. Please share that with me. And if you want to come hang out with me, if you do have goals, dreams, businesses that you want to build, this is my membership. This is my community. This is where you get to work with me one-on-one. It's Hey Girl, You Can. I would love to see you on the inside. See you next week. Bye, guys.